Hello, Kata fan, and TJ and Long, welcome. Decided to do a weekend stream just so we could discuss the new reveals. Hello, Nerd. So I'm sure you guys have already seen Lillia. What have you guys thought about her so far? Lillia the meme palette? Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of silly things we can do with her. Lillia the printer, yep. Love design, think her whole sleep mechanic is very interesting to tinker with. Yes, I think she will be a fun champion. Her starting deck, though, looks terrible. I'm so disappointed. Like, they were doing great with the first two, but they really did a bad job, I think, with Lillia. I wish she was a Spriteling deck with Petal, Pixie, and Sprite Mother. Yes. Seeing these two cards, it's like, I do not know why they decided not to put these in her deck, because we'll get into it more later, but these can easily replace some of the stuff that's in there. See, this is like, this starting deck is like the prime example of what I hate that they do with some of the decks, and they used to do this a lot more. And it's like, why? Why did you do this? And yeah, today we're just going to be talking about Lillia. We'll be discussing that, and then that'll be it for the stream. Going to try to still have a more relaxed weekend, so we're not going to do a full, like, 2-hour stream. But I just wanted to talk about this champion with you all and not save it all for Monday. But yeah, these two would have been great to add into her deck. And even this Bright Dance would have been a great spell. Alright, let's go ahead and look at some of her mechanics. So Sleep, new vocab, obliterate a unit and recall its attachments to store an exact copy in a landmark for 1 round. So normally landmarks, especially like the Obliterate, the Entomb in Ice, or Buried in Ice, it'll obliterate all your attachments. So that's pretty bad. So this isn't going to do that. So it makes it good for your own units and not as bad against enemy units, but there's not that many, or actually there's like no enemy decks that have attachments. So unless they accidentally like create the card, they're not going to have any attached units or any equipment. I guess there are some equipment decks in like Ornn and some of those ones. There are some equipment decks, but there's no like attachment decks. Anyway, so this is the new mechanic, and there's some spells and effects that are able to do it. So sleep a unit, fully heal an ally, then sleep it. Let's take a look at her little video.
Close your eyes and dream with me. Dreams bloom where hope takes root.
It's a funny like Scottish accent. So yeah, sleep, obliterate a unit, recall its attachments to store an exact copy for 1 round.
Oh dear, we've fallen right to sleep. Hello, wake up. Go on, prance.
Also, this is the card that is in Vex's deck. We don't know if it has any summon effects, but from this, it just looks like it's a 3/3 with Impact and Spirit. So that is pretty solid.
Go on, prance.
Sing to me of little lost dreams far away. Mother and guardian.
A little dream does wonders. dreams, not a one. All of the garden is in bloom.
So once she levels, she's immediately able to wake people up from the sleep. So you're essentially getting all the benefit of resummoning them without actually them having to go away.
You might feel better if you took a nap, you know. Sleep quietly, dream well.
Alright, so there was a little teaser of what she can do. Let's kind of break her down a little bit more. So 3 mana, 3/2 because of that spirit, and quick attack. Really not the greatest stat line. Like, yeah, that's not wonderful. Like, we look at someone like Vex. Vex was a 4-cost 5/4 baseline, which is really good. This stat line, not great. But when I'm summoned or strike, create a dream-laden bow. I think that's in hand. Or if you have one, reduces cost by 1. So you see that right here. 2 cost slow, sleep a ally. So this is something you can't be reactive with like you could for the blooming bud right here, because this you can't like use it to respond to enemy spells, which I think is one of the best uses for the blooming bud. You can use this a lot like Kindred's Kindred spell, I forget what it's called right now, but it's kill a unit to revive it. You essentially can do the exact same thing with the blooming bud, except the revive is going to be like a round later because of its countdown unless Lilia is leveled. So you can use this to save your unit from like an obliterate, save it from a lot of enemy spells, or if the enemy is in the middle of an attack and they're going to hit you, you can just sleep their unit. So there's going to be a lot of ways you can use this, especially because it's fast. With the one that's slow, you can use this a lot to just trigger on summon effects, which is going to be very important. And you can use this to really print your Lilia, because you can have her on board, you can sleep her, play another one, and especially if you have 2 of them on board, you can potentially sleep one and then have the leveled up Lilia immediately summon it back. So there's going to be a lot of cheesy builds you can do with her, such as like playing her with Stalker's Blade. So you play her, she gets strikes off, and immediately can play this for free. Stalker's Blade is still a summon effect, so if you sleep her and summon her again, she can get those strikes off again. You can play her with Guardian Orb. All the times you're summoning her, she's buffing up her entire deck. So even though her stat line kind of sucks, she is going to have some really interesting mechanics. But her level up is you've summoned 15 allies or landmarks. So the sleep, it makes them a landmark for a round. And so that's just will help your level up condition. When she levels up now, when you sleep another ally, immediately wake it up and grant its spirit. So this says another ally, so just a unit that's not her. But if you have 2 of her on the board, I think they should be able to wake each other up. I would kind of expect. Yeah, slow Kindred, kind of. This is, yeah, potentially one of the reasons Riot changed Lost Chapter, because with the amount of times you're able to summon her, it would have been, yeah, pretty crazy. So there's some really good stuff here. Sadly, not going to be in her starting deck, but let's go through all of these. So, again, 2 cost, slow, sleep an ally. That slow will be rough, but it can be good if you don't have to be reactive. Lilia's Blooming Bud, so this is her champion spell. Really good card. The fact that you can use this as fast, like, if you're used to playing Kindred, you know how broken Kindred's spell can be, and all the amazing stuff you can do with it. And you can essentially do all of that right here with this one as well. So next up we have a story landmark. So the Dewdrop Harvest, summon a Spriteling, and sleep an ally. Not too bad. The Spritelings, if you don't remember, right here, 1 cost, essentially 2/2 because of the double spirit. So anytime it says Spriteling, this is what they're talking about right here. Anyways, it's a fine landmark. Good morning, Az. Then we have the Petal Pixie. So 2 cost 1/1. When I'm summoned, summon a Spriteling. So that card we just looked at. Then we have the Sprite Mother. When I'm summoned, grant Spritelings and Sprite Mothers everywhere Spirit. Now, while this one has pretty bad stats on its own, that is a very powerful effect. Because you can just keep summoning this over and over, and it's going to be buffing up all other copies of this card, but then all the Spritelings that you could summon. So really good card right here. Wish it was in the starting deck. Then we have the Gardener. So 3 cost, 2/4. Play fully heal an ally, then sleep it. It's fine. Not really as good as most of the other cards in my opinion, but it's another way to sleep a unit. Could be beneficial, especially if you wanted to like print your Lilia. Could be helpful. Sprite Dance, so 3 cost fast. So you can really use this as like a combat trick. Recall an ally to grant all stacks of its spirit to another ally. So a great way to save all those stacks, buff up another unit, and then save your own unit if they're either getting blocked, if the enemy is going to kill it with a spell. Could be a really good combat trick. And then we have Heart of the Tree. So heal your Nexus 3 and summon a Spriteling. Grant allies everywhere Spirit, so all of your units just get an extra 1/1. Manifest a card that costs 8 or more and reduce its cost by half, rounded up. So it's an expensive landmark, but it is pretty solid. Her support package, I think, is pretty good. But you have the issue that most of this support package is not in your starting deck. So even though a lot of these cards are really good, we're not going to see them unless we get lucky in a shop or something. If we take a look at our starting deck and star powers, it's pretty rough. So we have Spritelings. We can play that. Decent card. That's the 1 cost 2/2 because of double spirit. Green Glade Lookout. Keeper of the Mask. And we'll look at all these cards in game. The Dewdrop Harvest. So this is the 2 cost landmark you see right here. Summon a Spriteling, sleep an ally. So decent. Then we have Lilia for the 3 cost. Shadow Assassin, which I get why they chose this because it has a summon effect of draw 1, which can be really good, but again, a lot of these we've seen in other decks, which is really annoying. Coastal Defender, I hate this choice so much. Concussive Palm, and then the Dreamlight Alina. So this is part of the Lux support package. So 8 cost, 1/1, and then Spirit. When I'm summoned, summon 5 Spritelings. For each one there isn't space for, grant the weakest ally 2 Spirit instead. So this will try to fill up your board. If there's not room, since there probably won't be, you can buff up your board. I really hate this starting deck. For one, most of these cards, like 5 of them, are existing cards, and they're cards that pretty much launched with the game. So I hate that they've added these in, and also most of these cards are in other decks, like Concussive Palm, Coastal Defender, Shadow Assassin, Green Glade Lookout. I think the only one that isn't is Keeper of the Masks. So most of these are in other decks, and some of them are in like multiple other decks. This is pretty much my most hated thing for new champions, is when they give us a deck that isn't part of the champion support package, is cards we've already seen in other decks, and cards that don't have a consistent theme. So for me, I want my deck to make sense. I want it to thematically fit together. Whereas we have like one of the cards that is from the support package, a card that makes sense, that while it's not directly in the support package, your support package makes it. So like, okay, that's fine. But like this one down here, this is Lux's card, which is kind of annoying that they use one of Lux's cards instead of one of Lilia's. But then all of these, it's like they've been in the game forever. You've added so many cards into the game. Why are you choosing all of these? Like, to me, it doesn't even matter if these cards will make a good deck. Like, some of these have strong effects, so it's not like it's going to be a terrible deck as far as gameplay, but it's like, we have other things to choose. Like Green Glade Lookout, a 2 cost. We have a 2 cost that would fit into our deck. Why not choose this one? Coastal Defender, a 4 cost. We have a 4 cost that would fit perfectly into your theme. Why did you not choose that? Like, why are these 2 cards not in there? Like, I understand if with the support cards they released, they just didn't have ones that would really fit into the deck. But it's like, you have cards that you're releasing with the champion. Why are you not using them? They fit perfectly into the deck. Like, I don't understand. It's, yeah, kind of blows me away. We can go and look at those cards though. So Green Glade Lookout, this is in multiple other decks. 2 cost 2/2, strike, reduce the cost of the most expensive unit in hand by 1. It's a fine effect. It's just annoying because, again, we've seen this in multiple other decks. Why is that there? Keeper of the Masks, when I'm summoned, give other allies 1 power this round. It's a summon effect, and Lilia can really scale with summon effects, so they, I guess, decide to throw this in there. Again, though, this is a really old card. It's been in the game for a long time. It doesn't fit with the rest of the cards thematically. Why put it in there? We have Shadow Assassin. When I'm summoned, draw 1. Elusive, so it's like, again, a good card. It's going to work well with your summon effects, giving you some draw. It makes sense. It's probably a great card to have, but again, it's an old card. It's in other decks already, and it doesn't fit the theme at all. Like, it's literally a Shadow Assassin. I don't think Lilia would want to hang out with this person at all. Like, this doesn't make sense at all. So even if these cards are great, even if they have wonderful relics and the entire support package is amazing, to me, it doesn't matter because these cards, like, they just don't fit. I would rather have an entire deck that fit together thematically and was a bit weaker than a card and a deck that's all over the place as far as themes and cards we've seen a million times before that was stronger, in my opinion. So even if they are amazing, which, like, some of these, like Shadow Assassin, I think is going to be great in the deck, but it just doesn't make sense, which don't like it. Coastal Defender, when I'm summoned, when you summon another ally, give me 2 power this round. We've seen this in the set deck. I don't know if it's in one of the other ones as well, but again, it's in one of the other support package. Doesn't make any sense in my opinion. Like, the summon effect, yes, that will work out decently well. We will be able to buff this up because we're all about triggering summon effects. But again, I don't like that it's in here. Concussive Palm, this is in like 3 of the decks, I think. Stun an enemy to summon a Tail of the Dragon. So, again, it's a decent card. It has synergies with her star powers that we'll get into, because it's summoning this card, not playing it. Still, though, it's like, if 1 or 2 of these was in the deck, it would be fine, whatever. We can't win them all. But the fact we have all of these, the majority of the deck is old cards that are in other people's decks, I think that's terrible. Yeah, let's look at this again. So that's her support package, or the starting deck that we have. The star powers, when you summon a unit without playing it, granted spirit. So that would trigger for like the Concussive Palm, but it's also going to trigger mainly from our sleep mechanic of putting them in a landmark, and then they get summoned after the landmark counts down. So when we do that, we're able to grant people spirit, which gives them 1/1. So it's an okay effect. 2 sleepy plus 1 starting mana. Round start, create a blooming bud in hand. If you already have one, reduce its cost by 1. That blooming bud, goodness. 3 cost fast, sleep a unit, and then since this is her champion spell, also create her in your deck. this is really good. Very similar to Kindred, but a lot of ways you can use this. Sleep your own unit to trigger summon effects again. Sleep enemy units to stop their attack, keep them from getting buffs. Yeah, do a lot of different ways you can use this. So pretty good second star power. Sweet Dreams. When you summon a unit without playing it, grant it spirit twice. So just give it 2/2. Pretty straightforward star powers. I think they'll be decent. I think Lilia herself is definitely going to be the main star of the show. There's going to be a lot of things we can do with her. A lot of ways we can trigger these sleep mechanics. But yeah, her deck, I think, is just terrible. Let's actually look. I'm going to bring up some of the other champions' decks so we can just kind of compare them. All right, let's see. All right, so this is Vex. As you can see, in all of Vex's cards, we only have 2 that are not part of their support package. And of those 2, only one of them is one that we've seen in other decks. So this other one, while it is not a card that necessarily fits with the theme, or it isn't a card that they launched with, it is a really good card, and it's a card that we don't see in anyone else's starting deck. So for me, it's like, okay, that's fine. Concologist, yes, we've seen it in other people's decks, and it doesn't really fit the rest of the theme, but having one card that does that, that's fine. Not bad. Like, this is really, really good. Very happy with this deck right here. I think they did a great job. If we take a look at Lux. So for Lux, we have 2 cards that are from other people's decks. That being said, both of these both fit into Lux's deck. Thematically, they're going to work really well as cards, and they'll actually fit with everything else. More or less. Like, slightly off, but they're close enough. They're all Demacian military. It works together well enough. And then we have one card that isn't part of Lux's support package, not one of the cards that's releasing with her, but it's not in anyone else's deck. And so for me, it's like, okay, that's fine. So this is another one where I think they did a really good job, and really happy. This all fits together thematically, works really well, and the majority of the cards are new cards we haven't seen before. So I think that is great. So for 2 of the starting decks, they did a great job. But then we go over to Lilia's, and it's like, what happened here? Why did you mess this up? You were on such a good roll with the other 2 champions. Like, what happened? So this one, it's disappointing. It's sad to me. I was really happy with the direction that they were going. I thought they moved past doing this. So definitely sad. That being said, though, I think as a champion, she will do well. I think her star powers, while again they're pretty straightforward and simple, they'll be good. This second star power will be amazing. Very strong. Will give you a lot of options. I think she'll still be fun to play. And I think these cards that they added, like especially like Shadow Assassin, I think they'll be good cards overall. It's just, I hate when they do this, but I think it will still be solid. And Concussive Palm, this is going to trigger your star powers because this is a unit you're summoning and not playing, so it's going to be stronger. So I get why they chose some of these, but I think some of them also just don't make any sense at all. Like, you just replace especially Greenglade Lookout with Coastal Defender, replace both of those immediately with Petal Pixie and Sprite Mother, or you can replace Keeper of the Masks. also fine with that. With Petal Pixie, just doing that change would immediately make the deck way better. Like, I don't understand why they did this. I think this is probably going to be a deck similar kind of to Nidalee, where there's some cards in Nidalee's deck that don't really make any sense being there, but Nidalee herself is absolutely amazing, and you essentially just focus on Nidalee. I think Lillia is probably going to be that same way, where you pretty much just focusing on her, and her whole deck is kind of an afterthought. Wait for level ups to make more sense if done right. Well, so to me, it doesn't really matter. Like, yes, all of these are going to get items on them. It's going to make them better. My main complaint doesn't even matter how well it fits in the deck gameplay wise. It's more the fact that it just doesn't fit the theme at all, and they're all cards that we've seen before, some of them multiple times in other decks. I hate playing different decks of different champions in Path of Champions and using the same cards over and over again. Like, there's so many cool cards in this game. Have us use these different cards. Like, that's the biggest issue for me. So for some of these, it doesn't matter how strong the card is. The fact that it doesn't fit the theme, and we've seen it a million times before, means that I don't like it in the deck, regardless of how strong it is. But yes, with items, and some of these will work well, it's just kind of disappointing in my opinion. But I think Lillia herself will be a lot of fun. This sleep mechanic is interesting. I love the fact that she has the ability to then just immediately wake your units up. Lillia and her units are probably going to be so hard to kill, because you can just constantly be able to deny enemy spells. Like, it's going to be so fun playing her. Lissandra tries to obliterate your unit, and you're just like, no. You just play like a Blooming Bud, cancels out the obliterate, the entomb. It's going to be wonderful. And yeah, the fact you can print this champion, I think this is going to be pretty fun. Her with Aurelia as a support champ would be nice, yes. I think there's also going to be a lot of fun different builds. Like, you can get really a lot of the summon effects, like Stalker's Blade can be fun with her, even though she doesn't have that strong of an attack because of her strike effect. Guardian Orb, you can trigger a bunch of times, that'll be fun. Grand Challenge Counterplan's not terrible. I hope they change her deck soon. I doubt it. Like, they've only now just started changing people's decks. And that was a very long time after the champions were released. Yeah, they don't do that very often. And since this is a champion they just put out, I doubt they're going to do that. And I don't know, I might have a more fringe view in the community, but for me, I hate seeing cards that we've already seen in other people's decks. I don't like that at all. I think they should avoid that as much as possible. Maybe that doesn't matter as much to other people, but to me, I think that's terrible. And then for me, I also really like everyone having a consistent theme. I like all of the cards to make sense thematically together, and that's kind of more important almost than the actual gameplay of the cards. But maybe that's just me. Maybe other people don't really care about that as much. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the champion, and what do you think of her deck? Is there anything I've missed? Anything you guys want to shout out? The other three creators also think that. Having old cards is cringe? Okay, then yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I don't really know why Riot does this, especially because like the Pixie Petal and Sprite Mother, these would have perfectly fit into her deck. And you even have exact cards to swap out. Like, this kind of feels like a Nasus situation all over again, where like Nasus also had the issue of not having the best champion and bad star powers. So I'm not comparing Lilia saying she's going to be bad overall, but Nasus was another champion that his support package was just all over the place. I don't mind a few key cards being missing. That gives you something to draw for, but yes, too many repeat of old cards, very bad. 5 out of 9 cards being old is insane. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I don't expect the champions to have like a perfect deck and have necessarily like all of the support cards in there. It's like, okay, I understand you want to have some cards to draw for, and you want to be trying to make a deck as you're going and not just have a perfect deck right out the gate. But this just seems way too much, especially because the other two champions they're releasing are so good as far as their decks. I think it works out so much better. Also, here's my like crazy theory. So normally they never release champions back to back, as far as, or reveal them back to back. Normally they show the support package and then they show the champion. The fact that they've been doing this makes me think they have more to reveal, because I think we're probably just getting 3 new champions, at least new to the game. But I think maybe, complete speculation, maybe they're going to be adding more champions to Path of Champions that are from the game, that are already in the game, but they're being added. So maybe these next couple days, maybe they are going to show, like, as an example, like Scion, who's already in the game, but they show off Scion, his support package, and like his starting deck. So it's champions like that that are already in Runeterra that they're adding to Path of Champions. So that's, yeah, super copium, completely speculation, but normally they don't reveal champions back to back. And so that is my hope, that we're going to get more champions added in and they're going to showcase them and kind of reveal them like new ones. Now, I could be completely off. Maybe they're going to show us something else, or maybe they're just not going to reveal something every day. Who knows? That's just my own head theory of what's going to go on. Hey, been loving your YouTube videos. Helped me get a couple more kills on Lissandra. Awesome. Happy to help. Yeah, Lissandra can be a pain. Yeah, we'll know in a couple hours. They're going to reveal... Well, if they're going to reveal anything, it's going to be in a couple hours. So if we could get some more of the existing champions added into Path of Champions, that's really what I've been looking forward to. It's been so long since that happened. I mean, we got Nora. Nora was great, a fantastic addition to the game. I'm hoping they're going to start adding in the existing roster to Path of Champions, because I think that would be great. That is really what I'm hoping for. Either we'll get nothing or we'll have new champions. I'm missing the 5th kill to get that extra relic, but I figured out once I'll have more champs at 30. Yeah, good luck. That last kill is pretty great. That's how myself and a lot of other people got the Spectral Scissors, which are pretty amazing. They could be taking a break for the weekend, so either Monday's another shot for big news, I guess. I think that's possible. Normally they don't. Normally they also reveal stuff on the weekend. But yeah, maybe they're taking a break with maybe less people. So no, the last one we got was Nora, because Nora was the champion that was already in the game and they brought over. And then before that, I think the last one was potentially Elise, yes. Normally they don't give us 3 champs in a row. Exactly. That's why I think there's a chance that they're going to be revealing other stuff over the weekend as well. Because, yeah, normally, well, they've never revealed 3 champions back to back. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened. So this is another one I think is very unlikely, because I doubt it's coming this patch, but maybe they're going to reveal constellations this weekend. Now, I think that most likely that's not coming this patch, and most likely that is going to be like potentially the patch after. But I'm just thinking of other things they might reveal this weekend if it's not going to be adding other champions to Path of Champions. They said they not got constellations this patch. I think that was just Runeterra report saying that. I don't think Riot officially said that. But again, I don't think that's likely. I'm just throwing it out there as something that is a slim possibility. But yeah, I don't think that that's likely at all. I think most likely that's coming in a later patch. This is the last patch they planned and designed before the new shift in direction. This might be the last one where they focus on PvP stuff more, and future ones are more Path of Champions focused. Probably just variety. Yeah, possibly. Normally they show us more variety cards, so maybe that's what they're gonna do, is just show us more of those. Which, if there is more variety cards, then that kind of makes this starting deck even worse. It's like, oh, so there's even more cards that they could have put in here and didn't. This is going to be interesting how it's like somewhat a scaling deck, but also one where you're doing a lot of this kind of cheesy mechanics with the sleeps. Copium is high today, yes. And that's why I decided to stream. I wanted to be able to kind of talk through and speculate some stuff with everyone. I feel like this champion's really going to play very similar to like kind of Mordekaiser and Kindred. I think both of them are very similar with you have a spell that can somewhat save your unit, and you're using that to kind of, you try to abuse that mechanic as much as you can. Anyone know if we're going to get a new battle pass? No, we're not getting a new battle pass, but we are getting like a chain of quests that's going to still reward us. That would be, that's what they've said. There's no event pass. There will be a quest to still get some rewards. So of the 3 champions so far, rank, like, put like a 1 next to like Lux, 2 next to like Vex, and 3, like just list your order of excitement for each of the champions. I thought they said officially in the stream that constellations were coming in 5.5. If they did, I missed that. I thought they just said they were coming soon, but didn't put an actual date on it. But again, I could be wrong. For me, I would probably say Vex is 1, Lux is 2, and Lilia is 3, as far as in terms of excitement. I think Vex is going to be super fun. Well, apparently most of us are kind of thinking the same. Wait, does Gloom just hard counter I'm Inevitable? Possibly, yes. My only issue with Vex is that she is a Yordle and an emo. I love Vex's Gloom animations. To me, Vex seems like it's going to be the most interesting out of all of them. I feel like Lux will be fun, but kind of just another scaling deck. And I feel like Lillia is just going to play very similar to like Kindred. So while it's fun, we do have something very similar. And in my opinion, Vex is the most unique. Oh, I think they're all going to be fun. And even though I have a lot of issues with Lilia's deck, I think Lilia will be a good champion. I think all of these will be fun to play and good additions to the game. So that's... I don't want anyone to think that I'm actually thinking any of the champions themselves will be bad. With the second star power, will you deal double damage? So, no, you're not going to deal double damage. It's just your damage is instead hitting the person as Gloom instead. So essentially, it's just going to be doing negative whatever you're hitting for. So if you're hitting someone for 2, it's then they're going to be going down by 2/2 in a form of Gloom. And since your damage is instead essentially converted into Gloom, it maybe won't count as damage. Now, this is, again, speculation on my part. Don't take this as gospel or anything. But if your damage is now only counted as Gloom and not as actual damage, you might hard counter things like I Am Inevitable, where when they take damage, they gain these extra stats. Because technically, they might not be taking damage. They might just be taking Gloom, and so it might not trigger those effects. If that's the case, it's going to be insane and an amazing counter to a ton of enemies, especially in the Lysandra adventure. Again, we don't know that's going to happen. But what if Vex is level 2? Yeah, so Vex, when she's level 2, she is kind of able to double your Gloom damage, or let's actually go and read exactly what it says. Okay, here we go. So, when enemy gains Gloom, it gains it again. So this is a little interesting. I'm not sure if all of your Gloom... So if you hit someone for like 5 damage, that's going to be converted into 5 Gloom. I don't know if that's going to be like one iteration of them getting Gloom all at once, like 5 of it all at once. And so Vex will just add 1 more on top of that, because they got Gloom, and then they got it again. So I don't know if Vex will just make it go up to 6, or if Vex is just going to count every one of those Gloom stacks as an individual application of Gloom. And so instead of them going up to 6, they go up to 10. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. So possibly doubling the damage, or just adding 1 to whatever amount of Gloom you added in that increment. It also means if you do 1 damage to all, then at any turn, then all enemies take 2nd damage, because boosts each turn. Yeah, you're going to want to hit every single target with some stack of Gloom so that they can get boosted up and just take more every round. They might be surviving damage, right? Actually can't deal with Spaghetti Code. Could be some weird interaction. Yes, that's why a lot of this is very much speculation on my part, as this could be how the game handles it, but it could also not. We'll have to see. It's 5 at once. See tie bulk. Vex says it gains it again, not just +1. So again, it should double in my opinion. They showed a scenario like that in the Lux teaser with Spirit. Hey T-Zoom. I hope it doubles. Yeah, I hope it doubles as well. I doubt it. But it would be, I think it's going to be very strong regardless. And Lux level 2 is the same wording. When an ally gains Spirit, it gains it again. See, for Lux, it's not going to matter as much because most of the time when your units are getting Spirit, they're just getting it in like one increment. Like boost all units, they're all going up a Spirit once, and then Lux will give it all of them again. You're not going to have that many times where they're getting a whole bunch of Spirit all at once, whereas that will be happening with Vex, with the fact that all of your damage is Gloom. So what do you think the 4th champion will be? So I don't think they're going to add any new champions. Like, if they're going to add new stuff and reveal it these coming days, it's just going to be champions that are already in the game that they are just adding to Path of Champions. And not like a level 2 version with a whole bunch of new cards. I don't think that's really going to be the case. Because like Lux and all of her cards are essentially a brand new champion. So I don't think they'll add like a level 2 Nocturne. I think they'll just add like Seraphine and a Seraphine support package into the game or something like that. Like Nocturne fits with this, but I don't think they're going to add more than 3 brand new champions to the game. So like Nocturne makes sense, yes. But I don't think they're going to add a level 2 version of Nocturne if you mean like a second version of Lux. Like maybe they'd add just Nocturne his support package. That definitely could make sense. Lilia's deck feels a little disappointed with all the old cards in it. Yes. So I think you missed, we had like a whole rant about that earlier. That deck is, I hate it. I think it's terrible. I think it'll play fine. I think a lot of the cards there make sense from a gameplay segment. But the fact that they're all old and none of them fit Lilia's overall theme, like I think that is terrible. Almost all these cards are in other people's decks. We've seen them before. Very old cards. We've played with them a bunch. There's so many cards in this game that we like never see in Path of Champions. I want them to use those, or just some of the brand new cards like the Petal Pixie or Sprite Mother. I have no idea why these aren't in the deck. It's crazy to me, but yeah, the deck here I think is terrible, but what are you gonna do? Unfortunately, we already have better Nocturne right here. Oh, you mean with Vex? Lilia is protecting Dreams from being a nightmare by sleeping and awakening units quickly. I mean, Fiddlesticks would be so much fun for them to add. I mean, I don't know if it's worse than Nasus's deck, because Nasus, his deck is pretty terrible. I mean, yeah, I would swap out Coastal Defender and Greenglade Lookout for the Pixie Petal and Sprite Mother. Doing that immediately makes it so much better. Like, miles better. Way, way better. Do that. That would help out a lot. There's some of the other ones that I'm still not thrilled about, but that would make the deck going from terrible to like, okay, it's good enough. It's enough new cards. that even though we have a couple old ones, it's fine. Because that's the thing, is like I don't expect any of the decks to be perfect. It's just this is terrible in my opinion. I was really hoping Riot was moving away from this because they used to do it all the time. We had a lot of champions that just constantly had the same cards over and over again. And so I thought they were really moving away with it with Lux's support package and Vex's. Way better, but can't get them all, unfortunately. If we were to get Lissandra in Path of Champions, she should have a copy of Thrall in her deck so she can give it items in the adventure. That would be interesting. Yeah, that's possibly. So what do you guys think these champions are going to do for Lissandra? I think Vex is probably going to be A to S tier. I think they're going to be very strong. They're potentially just going to hard counter a lot of the worst things about Morgana. So I think at the low end A, but possibly even S. I think Lux is probably going to be around the B tier, to be honest. I think she has some fun mechanics, but I think she's not necessarily going to be the best into Lissandra. So B, maybe even down in the C tier, specifically for Lissandra. That's what I'm meaning. So not, I think overall they'll probably be a great champion, but just into Lissandra. I'm thinking about the tier list. So I think this one, B or C, sadly. Lilia, I think they're actually going to be pretty decent into Lissandra because of the blooming buds and a lot of the kind of broken things you can probably do with Lilia. So I think Lilia will probably be like an A tier champion into Lissandra. Lux is going to be busted for everything but Lissandra. Yes, I kind of think that as well. I think Lux will be great, but specifically for Lissandra, probably bad. Would Evolution count all stacks of Spirit and maybe even Gloom? I doubt it. I think Evolution is probably going to count one of those. Because I don't think Evolution gives you extra stats for Impact, right? Hey Toast, which of the new champions do you think will do well as a support for older champions? I think there's some really good things in this Lux package that can help out. Like this Lumino Sprite is going to be pretty nutty. So I think Lux could be pretty decent. And I think Vex would also be solid. That being said, we don't know what they're going to have as the cards that come with them as a support champion, because everyone has 2 cards. But I think Vex could be really good, especially if you're playing a more fearsome deck. I'm not really sure about Lilia as a support package or not. Allies have 1/1 for each keyword they have, so it'll be 1/1 regardless of stacks. Yes, I think that's what it's going to be. Maybe 3 Guardian Orbs on Lilia should be good. Yeah, that'd probably be good. I don't know if you have to go fully for 3. It might be good to maybe throw on like a Stalker's Blade or something to try to get another strike off. To make some more of your Dream-laden bow. I think that's how you spell that or say it. But yeah, triple might be good. Sharing is Carrying probably only transfers 1 stack of Spirit 2, but still sounds strong. Yes, I think Sharing is Carrying will still be good, because then you're giving everyone else 1 extra stack, so you're kind of boosting your board almost. Lux is another champion with Corrupted Star Fragment and Void Carapace combo being good. Yes, I think, especially the Corrupted Star Fragment will be very good on Lux. Lily would be niche as support, like all landmark champs. Great with someone like Talia. I mean, to me, Lilia doesn't really feel like a landmark champion. Like, yes, you have the effect of summoning landmarks, but your sleep is, oh, count down one landmark, and when you level her up, you don't even get that landmark. So, to me, she doesn't feel like a landmark champion at all, because you're actively moving away from landmarks once you level her up. So, yeah, that's... doesn't give me the vibes of a landmark champion. Yeah, Corrupted Star Fragment, potentially losing the stacks could be bad, so you might not actually want to do that. Enfeebling plus Vex 2-star, double damage. Yeah, Vex is gonna be crazy. Imagine sleeping Lilia, playing second Lilia, and then copying them with Lilia. Yes, if you have like 10 mana, that'll be great. Magus, oh, when you summon a landmark, advance it. Yeah, that'd be great. So yeah, some people were really excited that she was a landmark champion. I mean, she has some landmark synergy, but in my opinion, she's not really a landmark champion. Like, we are gonna have our one story, but I mean, Vex is also having a story landmark as well, so I don't think Vex is a landmark champion. While you'll have your sleep, you're actively trying to, like, not have that once Lilia is leveled up. So I don't think it's really gonna play like Talia at all, or like if Lysandra gets added, that'd be like a landmark champion. I don't really see that playstyle being the case with Lilia, but who knows? Lux 2 is not real, it's just a dream. No, the Lux is actually Nico the whole time. So I think the new champions they've added so far, I think Lux and Vex are really good. Their overall kit is very strong, well-made decks. Great job, Riot. All the star powers seem pretty straightforward and simple. I think Lilia is going to be a very good champion. I think her second star power is very strong. She's a very terrible deck, but I think as a champion, she will still be good. I think there's going to be a lot of crazy combinations we can do with all three of them, and I think each one will be very fun to play. I am hoping that Riot announces some existing champions are going to get added to Path of Champions today and tomorrow, Monday as well. Hopefully that's the case, but we'll see in a couple hours. But that'll pretty much be it for the stream. Just want to talk about Lilia and the champions, so we're not going to do any gameplay today. Gonna try to enjoy more of my weekend. Still got to get a video done for today. But thank you all for hanging out. As far as the stream for tomorrow, that will depend on what they reveal. If I feel like they reveal something that's worth talking about, then I will stream tomorrow as well. If they don't reveal anything, or if what they reveal kind of isn't that big of a deal to me, then I might just wait till Monday. So maybe we'll be here tomorrow morning, maybe not. But thank you all for hanging out. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend.